Hi, I'm Scott Falk. I'm First Vice Chair of Community Board 8, and our next guest is one of our new members, Gayle Baron. Gayle now consults for small businesses and nonprofits after spending several years running the Long Island City Partnership and a few decades at the Port Authority. So, Gayle, why don't you tell us about how your time at the Port Authority and at the Long Island City Partnership really qualified you for serving on the community board and seeing how you could serve the Upper East Side and Roosevelt Island.
Oh, it will be my pleasure to do so, Scott. I began my career at the Port Authority at LaGuardia Airport as a management trainee, and over 3 decades there I was fortunate enough to have worked in economics, I worked in marketing, I worked in community affairs, and over the years I really had exposure to different issues that dealt with everything from quality of life to how to become fiscally responsible as an organization, as well as how to look at economic development overall throughout the bi-state region. Going on to the partnership, I began when it was the Long Island City Business Development Corporation. I eventually created a business improvement district, and within the bid, I was very pleased to have worked on a framework for the rezoning of the central core of all of Long Island City, which ultimately led to the amazing development that is underway right now. And it was fortunate that throughout the Port Authority years, I learned how to read blueprints. I understood zoning and land use issues, and as such, working with public and private sector folks, we were able to secure $80 million to create the capital improvements, which you see now along Jackson Avenue and along Queens Plaza, particularly evident when you come across the Queens Borough Bridge. And you can see you now have plantings, we have a pocket park. We were able to bring in a whole cross-section of different types of companies ranging from MetLife to JetBlue. So in looking back at my career, I'm very pleased with what I learned, and I think that those skills and that type of knowledge, now that I have more time than I have in the past, will really help so that I can contribute as a member of Community Board 8.
How long have you lived in this neighborhood?
45 years.
Excellent. So tell me if there are certain issues or certain projects that you're particularly interested in within this district.
Well, I'm particularly drawn to serve on the Small Business Committee. What's happening now with the 2nd Avenue subway development, so many of these mom and pop stores have had to close because their rents have just escalated. Property owners are looking at these various small businesses and they're thinking, well, when the subway is operational, we can secure much higher rents, so why keep them in place? And what I'd like to be able to contribute to the overall committee agenda is what kind of incentives exist for these small businesses. How can we do our best to try to keep them afloat? And even along Madison Avenue, where you used to have several mom and pops by the time you hit the area from 70th Street up to 96, co-ops, which own most of the buildings where the retail is located, now no longer have a cap as to what percentage of their revenue can come from retail. So you're also seeing more of the national chains and big box stores coming in rather than the mom and pops, which are basically like small businesses. They are the lifeblood of any community, in my opinion.
Besides small business, have you been appointed to any other committees at this point?
I'm also serving on landmarks. I've seen the changes in so many of these beautiful historic buildings throughout the district. And for example, if you go down Fifth Avenue, you see so many windows that are 1/1s instead of the traditional 6/6 or 8/8. And I think that I can contribute to that committee by trying to be realistic. You're going to have to deal with change because change is inevitable, but how do you create a balance so that you're able to really keep the neighborhood intact as compared to just changing so radically? And what I'd love to do, if I can find some more time, is serve on the Parks Committee, because I feel that we have so little green space throughout the district. So I'm looking to see if I can possibly make those meetings as well.
Excellent. So we've talked about some things where you're looking to preserve some of the characteristics of the neighborhood and preserve some of the landmarks, preserve some of the small businesses. What are some things that you might like to see change in our district?
Well, as far as change goes, I think that what I'd like to see is, sometimes I think that there is a divide at Lexington Avenue, where it's always assumed that folks who live west of Lexington don't have the same issues as those that live east of Lex. And I think being able to kind of consensus build so that we understand that we really all have the same issues. There are folks who live in the Carnegie Hill neighborhood who find that the cost of living there escalates and have to move out of a district, just the same as that problem exists on York and First Avenue. Sometimes I think that it's like two different neighborhoods, and what I'd love to see would be more interactions so that people who live in one part of the district kind of look at the rest of the district as being part of a whole, not with separate issues or separate problems.
Excellent. So I understand that you worked on the anniversary of the Queens Borough Bridge. So can you tell me about how you helped partner with people from the Upper East Side when you were representing the Long Island City Partnership to commemorate that occasion?
It's interesting because when I went to my first orientation session for Community Board 8, I was so surprised to see Judy Schneider there, because she and her husband Barry had co-chaired the centennial. And what we did is we worked with a lot of the small businesses in Long Island City to get them involved, to have them have special centennial types of meals and do whatever they could, even with small donations, to make sure that the celebration would be one that everybody would be proud of. We worked with the local transportation officials, with sanitation, everyone who is part of that community, to be able to look at the bridge, which is just absolutely spectacular, and realize that it was 100 years old and we really wanted to celebrate it in a great way. And Judy and Barry did a marvelous job. And it was almost, and we also worked with the East Midtown Business Improvement District, so that our Business Improvement District could end up having certain programs on the Queens side of the bridge, and their bid would have programs on the Manhattan side. So it was really a great celebration.
Well, thank you very much for bringing all of your experience and expertise to our board, and I look forward to working with you in the years ahead.
Thank you so much, Scott. I look forward to working with you as well and attending some of your transportation committee meetings, because I know you do good work there.